Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to this video. This video is a full video review of this thing right behind me, the LG UC97 curved Quad HD monitor. Now this monitor is an IPS monitor. It's aimed at professionals and gamers, as well as anyone else really that wants 3440 pixels by 1440, all in an IPS based package. So it looks pretty enticing, but is it any good and should you get one? Well, if you do get this monitor, the first thing you'll need to do is actually get it out of the box and assemble it. This is incredibly easy to do. It's a three-piece job. It's just the monitor itself, a sort of support bar, and then the stand. The support bar and the stand are made out of metal, and it feels really nice and sturdy, and it looks good too. Once you do get it assembled, this is actually done just by screwing a few screws with a screwdriver, very simple. It looks very nice. It is big, it is 34 inches across, but it is very, very big, and it can replace two monitors. I myself have replaced my two monitors with this monitor for the duration of this test. Now once you've got it assembled, of course you'll need to plug it in. Now ports wise, this has got two Thunderbolts, so it's very Mac compatible. And those two Thunderbolts, one is your sort of display in, and then the other one is if you want to daisy chain something like a hard drive or something out of it as well. If you're a PC user, or if you just want to use it, you've got a display port. And then you've also got two HDMIs as well. You've got a USB hub as well around the back. You've got two ports out and then one upstream as well. They're not the easiest things to get to, especially if you use the supplied back sort of cover / guard. It's not going to be that easy to get to, and I myself don't use USB hubs on my monitors, but if you do, it does have one. The stand it comes on is very sturdy. Like I say, it's nice and solid metal, but it's only got a tilt functionality. It only goes up and down, tilts up and down. Now, normally this would be an issue, but to be honest, with a monitor this big, you're quite unlikely to have more than one monitor, and that's when you really need to do the swivelly stuff to get them aligned. But it is something to note that you've only got the tilt and you don't have height adjust or anything like that. If you want a Visa mount, you can get one through LG, I believe, but it doesn't come in the box. So if you do order one, do note that you're going to have to do something separately. If you just order it, it won't come Visa compatible out of the box. So then now it's all set up, what is it like? Well, in a word, it's pretty incredible. This thing is pre-calibrated, so when you get it, it's calibrated in theory to its best. You can, of course, fine-tune it with the on-screen display, which is pretty good once you've got through the initial menu. But in order to get to the menus, you need to press this four-way selector, and then you need to select an option. And there is a bit of delay. It's not that really responsive from when you initially push that button. Once you're in the menus, it's okay. But the main thing you want to do is sort of adjust the brightness and contrast, really. Because the colour's already been pre-calibrated, you shouldn't need to change that too much, if at all. But yeah, once you've got it set up, it looks really, really nice. This thing is calibrated to 99% of the sRGB colour space, which means that it's going to be pretty accurate to your prints, which is great if you're a professional who wants to do grading or something like that, but also just for the standard end user that just wants great colours and colour accuracy. So it's a good start, but what's it actually like to use? Well, let's start with general use, because this is the thing that you'll probably be doing most of the time. Well, generally, it's very good. I mean, this thing is 34 inches in a 21:9 aspect ratio, so it's a bit different to what you'll be used to, but it's nice because it fills your whole field of view without being too high. If you stuck a 48 or something like that inch monitor on your desk, it would be too big. But because it's in this nice aspect ratio, it kind of fills your field of view, and the subtle curve that it has actually is very good, and it gives it a nice natural look, and it's flicker free something, which I have to say I think it does actually work. I have found that I can look at this monitor all day doing some work without it being an issue. The only real issue that I have with it during general use is that if you're not listening to music or anything, there's this very faint buzzing, especially when you're looking at something quite bright. Comes from sort of the bottom right hand side of the monitor, which is a little bit off-putting, but as soon as you've got the radio on, some music playing or whatever else it is playing something, this is easily drowned out. But it is something to note. The other main issue really is that if you want to be doing browsing on the web, I think the aspect ratio is too big for a single window. This is easily fixed by almost using it in a sort of multi-monitor mode. Simply on a Windows computer, drag your window to the left or right hand side of the screen, and then you've effectively got multi-monitor mode without having two monitors and those two bezels. So pretty good on general use. If you're a professional user, the good news doesn't stop there either. I myself would kind of call myself a professional user. I do a lot of image editing work, a lot of video editing work, and then some coding and things like that as well on the side. So my main use of the monitor is actually professional work, and I have to say it doesn't matter what I've been doing, it's been very good. Whether I'm doing some web coding and having a browser on the left hand side of the screen, and then the text editor on the right hand of the screen, and then viewing the results real time, that's great. If I'm doing image editing, it's good because the UI fits on the screen without crushing the image you've got, so the image fits nicely in the center of the screen, and all the UI fits nicely around it without having to compromise on the actual size of the image that you're trying to work with. Same with video editing, you can make your preview very big, so at the top right hand side of the timeline your image is nice and big without actually having to have a smaller timeline or seeing less audio tracks or something like that. You can fit it all on the screen nicely. So if you're a professional user, the color accuracy is great. It means that your colors are true to what they should be and they're going to look like they should be when it comes to print. And of course the fact that they actually look good is a major bonus as well. And the aspect ratio really does help you in your work because you've got more real estate to work with. If you want to play movies on it, yeah, I suppose you could say that. If you want to play movies on it, if you want to watch movies or video on it, then it depends what you're watching. Now let me start by saying the backlight bleed on this monitor is not great. That's not an issue for me at all. I've barely noticed it, if at all, because I'm always in a nicely well-lit room, don't tend to watch many movies on it or anything like that, and the sort of things I'm working with are normally quite bright. But if you want to use this monitor as not necessarily a primary thing, but if you're going to be watching a lot of movies in a dark room, then you are going to notice the backlight bleed at the sort of top left and top right of the monitor, and to a lesser extent the bottom left and the bottom right as well. Backlight bleed is of course where the backlight bleeds through the sides of your monitors and you get a brighter patch and colour inconsistency. Backlight bleed aside though, the movie watching experience is brilliant. The first thing I fired up on this was actually some Star Wars trailers, the first one and the second one, and I have to say having that aspect ratio is brilliant because it means you don't get any of those black bars, and anything without black bars looks amazing. The flip side of that coin though is that if you're watching standard YouTube videos, no matter what it is you're watching, whether it's cookery shows, tech shows, PC Centric, anything like that, it means you're going to get these black bars on the left and right hand side of your monitor, which defeats the whole point of having an ultra-wide monitor in the first place. The only way that you can kind of work with this is if you have a browser window open at the sides as well. But if you want a full screen experience, then it's not as good as watching it on a 16:9 monitor. So if you're going to get this monitor, make sure you tend to watch and view a lot of 21:9 aspect ratio things to get the most of the monitor screen estate you've actually got. Now finally, of course, is the gaming performance, and in a word, it's pretty damn impressive. Now, this does have a few caveats, the first one being that if you are playing a game that doesn't support 21:9, then you are getting it letterboxed with black bars, and then again, you don't get the benefit of having an ultra-wide monitor. But assuming you do, so games like Dirt 3 work pretty much flawlessly. If you want to play GTA, that works flawlessly, but the cutscenes do kind of come in to a 16:9 and then they give them black bars. So that does detract a little bit from the experience, but when it works properly, when you've got a nice 21:9 aspect ratio game on screen, it looks brilliant. Like I've said, it fills your field of view and it looks absolutely incredible. Couple that with the colour accuracy and things look amazing. And some games, there's simply not another monitor that I would rather be playing this game on. It really is great. And I think the curve does help, like I say, to give it a nice natural look to it as well. If not actually, maybe slightly reduce eye strain, but that's probably just a placebo. If you are wondering about this monitor's response time, I can't remember the exact figure, I think it's about 5, but numbers only go so far. What is the experience actually like? Well, let me tell you, the responsiveness is very good. You've got a few settings, not really sure which way you're meant to go. You've got response, and then you've got low, medium, high. Is low better than high, or is high better than low? It doesn't tell you. That was something that did annoy me. But either way, I managed to play Battlefield Hardline multiplayer pretty successfully, and that means that it's pretty responsive. So for a 60Hz panel, I have to say this is one of the best I have used when it comes to responsiveness, which is pretty incredible bearing in mind that massive resolution and of course that massively wide screen size. If you're wondering what does it compare like to 4K, well, it doesn't. The thing is with 4K, it makes you go wow, okay? And then once you get used to it, it's great. This doesn't make you go wow, but it's still super sharp, and it of course is much easier to run than a 4K panel. So at the moment, this sort of resolution does make a lot more sense than 4K. But of course, if you have the horsepower to run 4K, maybe it's a decision you need to make whether to go for a 4K one. But I think the gaming experience on this is absolutely fantastic, to say the least. So then, that is all the uses that I've used this monitor for. So it's time to wrap up. This is an absolutely incredible monitor. It fills your field of view, and everything that you look at looks amazing due to that pre-calibrated IPS sRGB 99% coverage. It looks fantastic. If you are watching something that isn't in 21:9, then of course you're not going to get the benefit of this monitor, which is when you should start to question whether this monitor is worth it. As for the curve, I think it helps a lot. And if I was going to choose between a curved and a non-curved, I would certainly go for the curved one. But the problem there is that the curved one costs substantially more than the non-curved version, and assuming that the panels are identical, I'm not saying they are, I'm saying assuming the colour accuracy and responsiveness and stuff like that is exactly the same between this and another one you're looking at that isn't curved, then I'm not entirely sure whether it's worth going for the curved one. That is a decision you have to make for yourself. Some people say it's a gimmick, some people are saying it's amazing. I'm saying I like it, but I'm not entirely sure whether it's worth that extra price tag, which is why this monitor does win my Top Performer award. It's not the best value thing, it's really expensive, but it's an experience like no other, and it's an experience that I'm very sad to see sadly leaving the building in the coming week. So thank you so much for making it this far and watching this review. I hope it's helped your buying decision, and I hope it's given you some insight into whether this monitor is one you should be buying. Let me know in the comments section below, did you like this video? Is this a monitor you would be interested in? Are you more interested in 4K, 144Hz? I don't know, let me know in the comments section below what your thoughts are. Of course, if you have any questions, then hit me up at PCcentric on Twitter, and you'll get a reply pretty sharpish depending on whether I'm awake, I guess, or not. If you haven't already, subscribed to PCcentric for more videos like this, as well as others on PCs, gaming and technology. So this is it from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's helped. I hope it's helped, and I will see you in the next video.